So it's hurricane season. Yes, these are the things I want you to understand. You don't have to be in South Louisiana, Biloxi, or over there in Texas or Tampa Bay, Florida, to be bothered by the fact that they're expecting this to be one of the worst hurricane seasons in modern history. You can live anywhere in the United States, and a hurricane big enough and bad enough, friend, could affect you directly. So what should you expect? If you don't live in the coastal areas or a few miles from the coast, you shouldn't have to really worry about, the spin-off tornadoes and the 180 to 220 mile per hour gust that tend to rip our homes to pieces. You won't have to worry about that. What you will have to worry about is sustained raining. Sustained raining for days and days and days. So much raining that your entire town may flood. Or if you're on the side of a mountain, you might slip. Good morning, family and friends of the internet. Welcome back to Starkey Farmstead. So I did want to show you. Is that not beautiful? So it's really growing, and it's growing faster than I would have hoped for. We've been having a little bit of rain here lately, and that always helps these gardens just, it's so bright here. They get so much sunlight. When they get that additional rainwater that's full of nitrogen, things just grow. So let me use that as an analogy. Things grow when they get sunlight, right? Humans. And if you think of sun like Jesus and you think of rain like the Holy Spirit, you'll get my understanding when I say this. Folks, we need it to rain on this earth right now more than ever. Now listen, I am hearing that the hurricane season is legitimately going to be off the chain. We're talking 19 named storms, okay? They're expecting somewhere of like 8 category 4s. Yeah. So if you live up north, you're probably like, well, I don't need to be worried about hurricanes, Sam. I live in New York. You should be worried of hurricanes, especially in New York. What happens here recently, what we've seen, is that hurricanes come in off the Gulf or from the ocean side, whichever, They come in, they hit land, and then they turn on their frequencies. They turn on their radar. They move these storms, and then they stall. They hit them with radar from all the way around. The storm can't move. It can't go forwards. It can't go backwards. And they get them just in the right position to dump more water than any one community can withstand. Hence, mudslides, missing bridges, whole rivers overflowing by a mile on each side. How do I know that? Well, I saw what happened last year, Kentucky, Virginia, South Carolina. But before it happened to y'all, it happened to me. I lived through it. We had a storm that sat somewhere between Arkansas and Missouri along the Mississippi River for like 5 days, and it wouldn't move. This was in 2016. Wouldn't move. Would not move. Y'all, by the time that storm unstalled, because they call it, the storm stalled. By the time that storm had moved, where I lived was underwater. They called it the 100-year flood, but let's be very honest. It was a 1,000-year flood. No one had ever seen anything like that in history. This town that I lived in had been there since the early 1800s, okay? So you got almost 200 years of written documentation of floods because we live close to a river. The entirety of the town had never gone underwater in over 200 years, but we just happened to go underwater that year. So I think the thing that most of us need to be prepared for is flooding. Going without power for extended periods of time and 110 plus degrees. We've had it happen here. When I lose power, I lose water, and that is the truth. I run on well water. So, I've had to learn to adjust when I know that hurricanes are coming in. So guys, we were demonetized. We're still waiting to see They're going to take us back in the partnership program. If you enjoy our content, if you watch us every single day, please pray about buying us a coffee, getting the dogs a treat, whatever you want to do with it. Look in the top of comments. There's different ways that you can row with us. But I think for this year, my largest concern is going to be the amount of communities that are accidentally destroyed by the hurricane. Because who really trusts FEMA? Who trusts FEMA? Because let me tell y'all, I know I'm going to get a little long-winded, so just go with it. Get a cup of coffee, sit down, and just hear me out. When 2016 Great Flood came, and we were caught in it, it took us 72 hours to get out of the floodwaters. By boat, by foot, the whole 9 yards. By military. I mean, it was really, really bad, folks. I ended up coming out barefoot. Only thing I had left was my bug out bag. Barefoot. I'm not even exaggerating with you. We had lost everything. Everything. Even our pets. We lost everything. Let me explain to you what I learned during that. That people gather where they believe there is safety. Safety in numbers. You've heard that your whole life. There's safety in numbers. Not so in riots, and definitely not so in natural disasters. People would find anywhere that was dry. Not just the people, but the snakes, the deer, the wild animals, the lost pets, the bees, the wasp, the red ants. It was one of the most horrific things I'd ever been through. There was water everywhere, and there literally was not a drop to drink. We had straws, thank God. We had survivor straws. Because let me tell you something. Do you know how heavy water is? Have you ever picked up 5 gallons of water and just started walking with it? No. And most Americans, in their mind, you think you can. You think you're going to put on a 75-pound bug out bag and walk miles to safety. You're not. As the day goes, as the heat comes, you're going to start throwing things out. And the first things that go are the heavy things. And that's your water. Honey, listen. I don't make videos to scare people. I make videos to educate people. Because you surviving, you prospering, is the most important thing to me and to God. The first thing you need to know is you had better have some way to protect yourself. Second thing, you need to have someone in your group that can protect you. Third thing, do not group up with people waiting for someone else to save them. Let me say that again. Do not get in a group of people that are waiting for someone to come and save them. That is not your people. Those are people that can't do it. Those are people that need somebody to save them. Those people get you hurt. They get you robbed. They get you drowned. We were walking on an overpass because, like I said, everything was underwater. So we're up high. We're on the overpass, the only dry spot in a 5-mile radius. And there is a state trooper on a box, like a wooden box with a bullhorn, telling everybody to stay right there with him. Safety, rescue, it is on its way, folks. Everybody come here. So everybody's flowing that direction. I looked at Stephen and I went, he goes, no, we're going that way. Everybody's going this way, right? Me and Stephen going this way. People are like, where are y'all going? We're like, oh, it's all right. It's all right. We're just going to walk down here and check things out. When we finally got to the edge of the water, which you couldn't see from where the police officer was, there were airboats there to save people, and there was nobody there. Let me say that again. There were personal boats. There were airboats. There were people trying to save people at the water's edge, but everybody's up on the high spot with the police officer standing around in the 110-degree sun at noon with the wasp and the ants. Yeah. Hurt, hungry, crying, injured, screaming at the police officer. Baby, ain't nobody gonna save you but you when the time comes. Now look at me. Now look at me. I'm back on the land that my father had for me, doing what my father asked me to do. Nobody's going to save you but you. That's my story of the day. If we would have stayed with that police officer, it could have been the next day before we were picked up. We got to the edge of the water, and they were bringing a woman that had given birth in the flood in the top story of the house while the house was flooding. They put her on the first boat. They brought an elderly couple. They put them on the second boat. Took about 30 minutes. Me and Stephen were on a boat, and we were out of there. We were saved. I thank the people that had the boats, but baby, I'd have built a boat out of floating wood if I'd have had to. And there's the difference between the ones of us who are going to make it and the ones of them who are going to wait for somebody to save you. If you've never seen what people do when there's no power and no way to call the police, I pray that never happens to you. We were able to up our game. Now we have a little more protection on the farm. So God bless you guys that rode with me for that. And I sincerely mean that. This channel wouldn't be here without each and every one of you commenting, liking, sharing. Just understand this, folks. We don't have to agree. But when I'm trying to share something with you, it's because I've done the research on it, or it's a lived experience. A lot of you have never been in a situation that you couldn't get out of your hometown for 72 hours. Like, you have no idea what I'm talking about. You don't know what it's like to watch people get sucked under interstates and have to stop a moving caravan of military personnel and them threaten to run over you and you threaten not to move. Yet y'all have no idea what I'm talking about. But it's happened, and not just to me, to a lot of Americans. If you're disabled, if you're unable, talk to people around you who are able-bodied. Get a community safety plan. Why don't we have those? You have people in apartment buildings, you don't even know each other's names. Meet your neighbors. Say, hey, if something pops off, why don't we work together? Find your tribe, people. Because trust me when I tell you, TikTok just banned me again. Why? Because I'm pushing back against the blackwashing of American history and the hate coming from the left aimed at all conservatives of every color, ethnicity, gender, the whole 9 yards. And they don't want people like me to speak because I make sense, right? Common sense prevails. Love you guys so much. Be blessed. My godchild's fixing to be here. And everybody knows I'm not going to get nothing done once it gets here. So I got to get busy. Love you guys. Real fast. Things in the Middle East are heating up. Some of you may know this because you're on top of things. Iran is in total meltdown. It's like a civil war on the streets. Okay? I'm getting a daily thumbs up from my soldier over there. Just keep praying. I am sending a care package to his unit. He is getting together what is allowed to be sent, and he's going to send it to me. If you'd like to donate towards that, just put care package in the memo of whatever you send. I'll separate that out. It'll just help me give a little bit more. Some of these soldiers don't have families, folks. They don't have families. So I'm going to be that mama that sends a care package for all the children. Everybody's invited to that birthday party. So if you'd like to row with us on that, you already know how to do it.